You are driving on a clear night with your low beam headlights on. If your headlights let you see up to 250 feet ahead of you, adjust your speed so that you can stop within about. Driving at night. You are at a greater risk when you drive at night. Drivers can't see hazards as soon as in the daylight, so they have less time to respond. Drivers caught by surprise are less able to avoid a crash. Headlights. At night, your headlights will usually be the main source of light for you to see and for others to see you. You can't see nearly as much with your headlights as you can see in the daytime. With low beams, you can see ahead about 250 feet, and with high beams, about 350 to 500 feet. You must adjust your speed to keep your stopping distance within your sight distance. This means going slow enough to be able to stop within the range of your headlights. Otherwise, by the time you see a hazard, you will not have time to stop. Night driving can be more dangerous if you have problems with your headlights. Dirty headlights may give only half the light that they should. This cuts down on your ability to see and makes it harder for others to see you. Make sure your lights are clear and working. Headlights can be out of adjustment. If they don't point in the right direction, they won't give you a good view and they can blind other drivers. Have a qualified person make sure they are adjusted properly. Which of these statements about stopping distance and speed is true? Slippery surfaces. It will take longer to stop and it will be harder to turn without skidding when the road is slippery. You must drive slower to be able to stop in the same distance as on dry road. Wet roads can double stopping distance. Reduce speed by about 1/3, which would be to say 55 to 35 on a wet road. On packed snow, reduce speed by half or more. If the surface is icy, reduce speed to a crawl and stop driving as soon as you can safely do so. What types of roads require double of distance to stop a fully loaded tanker? It takes longer to stop which vehicle? Stopping distance. Keep in mind how much space you need to stop your vehicle. Remember that wet roads double the normal stopping distance. Empty tank vehicles may take longer to stop than full ones. A traffic emergency requires you to leave the road and escape to the shoulder. If possible, slow down to. Leaving the road. In some emergencies, you may have to drive off the road. It may be less risky than facing a collision with another vehicle. Most shoulders are strong enough to support the weight of a large vehicle and, therefore, offer an available escape route. Here's some guidelines if you do leave the road. Avoid braking. If possible, avoid using the brakes until your speed has dropped to about 20 miles an hour. Then brake very gently to avoid skidding on a loose surface. Hauling liquids in tank vehicles requires special care for two reasons. One reason is a high center of gravity. The second is driving tank vehicles. Hauling liquids in tanks requires special skills because of high center of gravity and liquid movement. When transporting cargo, drivers of tank vehicles must inspect the cargo within the first. Inspecting cargo. As part of your pre-trip inspection, make sure the truck is not overloaded and the cargo is balanced and secured properly. Inspect the cargo and its securing devices again within 25 miles after beginning a trip. Make any adjustments needed. Check the cargo and securing devices as often as necessary during a trip to keep the load secure. A good habit is to inspect again every 3 hours or 150 miles, and after every break. When loading or unloading a cargo tank, a qualified person must be watching from a distance of no further than tank loading. The person in charge of loading and unloading a cargo tank must be sure a qualified person is always watching. This person watching the load or unloading must be alert, have a clear view of the cargo tank, be within 25 feet of the tank, know of the hazards of the materials involved, know the procedures to follow in an emergency, be authorized to move the cargo tank and able to do so, close all manholes and valves before moving a tank of hazardous materials, no matter how small the amount in the tank or how short the distance. Manholes and valves must be closed to prevent leaks. You should never do what in a cargo tank? You should know the outage needed for the liquids you're carrying because outage. Never load a cargo tank totally full. Liquids expand as they warm, and you must leave room for the expanding liquid. This is called outage. Since different liquids expand by different amounts, they require different amounts of outage. You must know the outage requirement when hauling liquids in bulk. When having to make a quick braking movement, you should use. If you're driving a tanker and need to steer quickly to avoid a hazard, you. What makes a driver in a tanker truck skid? Braking. If you must make a quick stop to avoid a crash, use controlled or stab braking. Also, remember that if you steer quickly while braking, your vehicle may roll over. Skids. Don't oversteer, over accelerate, or over brake. If you do, your vehicle may skid. On tank trailers, if your drive wheels or trailer wheels begin to skid, your vehicle may jackknife. When any vehicle starts to skid, you must take action to restore traction to the wheels. High center of gravity means high center of gravity. High center of gravity means that much of the load's weight is carried high up off the roof. This makes the vehicle top heavy and easy to roll over. Liquid tankers are especially easy to roll over. Tests have shown that tankers can turn over at the speed limits posted for curves. So take highway curves and on ramp, off ramp curves well below the posted speed. A CDL endorsement is needed for cargo tanks that have bulk packaging over gallons for liquids. Tank vehicles. A tank vehicle is defined as a commercial motor vehicle that is designed to transport any liquid or gaseous material within a tank that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or chassis. Such vehicles include, but are not limited to, cargo tanks and portable tanks. A CDL tank endorsement is required if the cargo tank has bulk packaging over 119 gallons for liquids, or a water capacity greater than 1,000 pounds as a receptacle for a gas if they are permanently attached to or forms a part of a motor vehicle, or is not permanently attached to a motor vehicle but which, by reason of its size, construction, or attachment to a motor vehicle, is loaded or unloaded without being removed from the motor vehicle and is not built to the specifications for cylinders or portable tanks. What is the exception to a portable tank requirement? Portable tank. A portable tank is defined as a bulk packaging, except a cylinder having a water capacity of 1,000 pounds or less, designed primarily to be loaded onto or on or temporarily attached to a transport vehicle and equipped with skids, mounting, or accessories to facilitate handling of the tank by mechanical means. A portable tank that meets the bulk packaging definition described above requires a CDL with a tank endorsement. However, this definition does not include portable tanks having a rated capacity under 1,000 gallons. Before loading, unloading, or driving a tanker, inspect the vehicle. This makes sure that the vehicle is safe to carry the liquid or gas and is safe to drive. The driver of a liquid tanker truck needs to know the following. What does liquid surge do to the handling of a tanker? Danger of surge. Liquid surge results from the movement of the liquid in partially filled tanks. This movement can have bad effects on handling. For example, when coming to a stop, the liquid will surge back and forth. When the wave hits the end of the tank, it tends to push the truck in the direction the wave is moving. If the truck is on a slippery surface such as ice, the wave can shove a stopped truck out into an intersection. The driver of a liquid tanker must be very familiar with the handling of the vehicle. You have completed the learning phase. You will now begin the testing phase. This quiz will test your knowledge on the tanker endorsement information. If you score an 85% or above, you're ready to go to the DPS office and take your test for this section. Good luck.